Hello YouTube, how you doing? I look like trash. Y'all can fuck off. I wanted to talk about a comment that I got on a video. And it was about fake witches. I just kind of opened it, sort of. It's called The Witchy Show, My Experience with Fake Witches. So this is the episode, and I'll have cards. So this is a video that got 506 views. That's actually pretty high. And lots of comments from lots of different people. But this is the one where I kind of read that bullshit little spell the chick did in the Facebook group. If you don't remember, go back and watch the video. But I got this comment, and I'm gonna read the comment. I was thinking, I could type it out, and I could, reply to it that way. But I'm probably just I'm gonna do this as like a part 2. There's already been like multiple videos done after this original one about, all this drama, yada, yada, yada. But I wanted to do a part 2, and I kind of wanted to talk about what a fake witch is. Over the past few months on my channel, I've talked a lot about fake spells, I've bashed Wicca, and I haven't... How do I put this? I like older Wicca, so like pre-1970s, maybe even pre-1980s. Before it was beginning to become a trend. Today's Wicca really seems to be a lot about people misrepresenting and misusing the Wiccan Rede. The Wiccan Rede is nothing more than a story, okay? So it's literally absolutely nothing more than a story about the Lord and the Lady and the changing of the seasons and the celebrations of the Sabbats and the Esbats and stuff like that. People misrepresent it and throw it down your throat whenever you do something that they don't like. So for example, I practice more folk magic, and some of my magic incorporates hexes and curses, which I don't do often. I don't do them every day. I'm not, hexing somebody every day. But a lot of Wiccans would shove their Wiccan Rede down my throat or tell me the threefold law, Like, Wicca today has just become very Christianized, and what I mean by that is that there's these rules and there's these, like, commandments, if you will, of things you can and cannot do and things that make you a real Wiccan, and then there's this whole other concept of where if you are a Wiccan, then you are a witch, and you can't be a Wiccan without being a witch, because then that just makes you some sort of pagan. And I've made tons and tons of videos on this, talking about this, sharing my viewpoint. Lots of people have disagreed, lots of people have, tried to argue their point. Some people epically failed. Other people, had some good thought and good points, but I think they were a little bit off the mark in terms of their definition of what Wicca is. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about fake witches. Which I guess kind of leads into the Wicca thing, because you get a lot of these priests and high priestesses of the Wiccan tradition who claim they're high priests and that their grandmother or their grandfather initiated them, or whatever the case may be. And they're just, when they talk to you in these Facebook groups, they talk as if in real life they were staring down their nose at you, being like, I'm better than you, I'm better than you. And this is not indicative of all Wiccan high priests or priestesses, so before you get offended, but a lot of these people are what I would consider fake. And so this person goes on, and I'm going to read his comment, okay? And this is about witches and nothing really specific, but it's kind of a long comment, but I'm going to read the whole thing to you. Again, you can go to the video and read the comment yourself. I'm going to be interjecting parts with my opinion, so I'm gonna read it, but but I'm not going to read the whole thing and then give you my opinion. I'm going to read paragraphs or whatever, and then, you know. So this guy's by Boneset the Viridescent Witch. Not really sure if I butchered your name or not. So he says, I do not agree with people bullying others because of their practice, but to me, that is not what makes a fake witch. A witch does not have to be perfect. A practitioner is in need of wisdom, a reality check, a smack in the face if they are bullying another, but to me, a practitioner of witchcraft is a witch. Yes and no. So when you're practicing witchcraft and Wicca or Satanism or whatever, and you come into these communities, it's kind of like an understanding that you're there to help new people. Because you get a lot of new people who ask really basic questions like, what's a white witch? Well, Google would help you, but you know. Or what's witchcraft? Or I'm really new and I want to cast a spell. And you get a lot of older people who just shit all over these people. I remember posting topics about instances where I don't think magic could help you, and a lot of these older supposed witches would come out and say, oh, well, if you can't witch through the hard times, then you're just not cut out for this path. This isn't a path for you. Or they'd even throw around my experience, not knowing how experienced or inexperienced I am. We're all inexperienced in a lot of aspects, and we're all very experienced in a lot of other aspects. And I think that if you're going to come onto these Facebook groups and YouTube and be a bully, then you are a fake witch. Now, you could argue that, oh, we've seen some of your videos and you're a bully. I offer my opinions, and the difference between my opinion and being a bully is that at the end of the day, it's just my opinion. I'm not actually going out there and being like, all Wiccans should be beat and shot. I'm giving my opinion on the state of where Wicca is today. So on and so forth. If you hear anything, I got these fucking crackheads who live above me that love to fucking stomp around. Like, it's like, I've seen this lady. She is like the most petite, short, skinny little thing, okay? But you'd never know it because it sounds like a fucking elephant walking around up there. Anyways, so I am very much one to teach and not teach. I don't want to say teach, because when you say you're a teacher, you're held to this whole other expectation. I'm one to give my opinions, and they might be controversial, and a lot of people might not like them. But I'm also one to show you my craft and my practice. And I really think that if you're going to come into a community and be like, you need to do it my way, or it's the highway, or you're fucking stupid, you have no idea what you're doing, or, oh, you shouldn't be practicing this, you don't have any experience, you know, like bullshit like that, you know, that to me defines a fake witch, because a witch is held to a little bit of a higher standard, at least the older ones in the community, because they're the ones that have passed the knowledge down to us, to newer witches, and so on and so forth. I learn from a lot of people who are older than me or of my age or around my age, and to see grown adults basically fling feces at each other, how does that make you a witch? That just makes you an immature piece of shit who claims to be a witch. If you are not active in witchcraft for a period of time for some reason or another, then in my opinion, you're still a witch. But then what is a fake witch? I think in this video, I might have said something about being inactive, and there was this video by Lady Gravedancer where her, Sunshine Morning Ray, and Ravenflower had this discussion. If you put your craft down for 6 months and did not go near it, didn't light a candle, didn't light an incense, didn't do a prayer, didn't do anything at all, you're not necessarily a fake witch, but I think that you kind of lose touch with being a witch. Like, you're just, like, how can you call yourself a witch if you don't practice? Now, I'm not saying you have to practice every single day, because obviously we all have lives, but it's the little things. Like, when I light my golden oil for, or my golden oil, when I light my golden candle, I got distracted, my dishwasher's going. When I light my golden candle for Saint, his name is escaping me right now. I want to say Charles, but that's not it. For, it'll come to me. When I light my gold candle for my money altar, you know, that's a little bit of something. You know, you don't have to be making an incense or doing a spell every day, but to walk away from your craft for like 6 months, not touch it, or even longer, I don't want to say you shouldn't be calling yourself a witch at that point, because that's really controversial, but I don't think you have the same grasp with the magical ebb and flow of the energies that people who might have walked away but still do little things every day, like maybe they light an incense, maybe they stop by an altar, maybe they, you know, whatever. I don't know. That doesn't make you a fake witch, though. To me, it is someone who claims to be a witch. They are not. Now, I know others have made videos on this topic, but they tend to make a point that you cannot assume someone's practice and basically give them the benefit of the doubt. No one had specifically had the same view as me in any videos I've seen. I don't understand what you're saying. So people have made videos on this topic, but you cannot assume someone's practice and basically give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't know. We'll keep going. I have met people who've talked about witchcraft and claim to be a witch, but then when a family member dies, they start asking for prayers and themselves pray to God. Okay, just because, and so he also goes on to say this, and they get out their Bibles, etc. This to me is fake. It tells me that you're conflicted in your beliefs and that you're not really sure who you are. I'm not talking about those who blend Christian beliefs with witchcraft. That is not something I do, but I am not judging it. Actually, you are. But to me, you claim to be a witch and you backpedal to another religion. You are being fake. That is fact, not opinion. Actually, no, that's your opinion. So this kind of infuriates me a little bit because I am somebody who was a Wiccan for a while, left to go be a child, be a party, be a whatever, and then I basically had some shit happen to me in my life that made me turn to Christianity, but that led me back to my path, which then led me more towards a folk path. Okay, so if you were to see some of the altars I have in my house, and I've got videos coming in the future on this, so I won't get too much in depth here, but I work with Mother Mary. Okay, she is my matron. I don't know what you want to call it, goddess, deity, saint, whatever. She is the person I work with, and I use biblical passages and Psalms magic in my craft, okay? So, to tell me, or to spit this out there, that people who lose a family member and turn to the Bible, first of all, maybe they're similar to me. Like, I would turn to the Bible. Whether I was a Wiccan or a Satanist, I would turn to the Bible because maybe that's what my family does. Maybe that's the core belief system, and to be respectful to be respectful, I was gonna say out of respect, but to be respectful to the deceased and to your family, you know, maybe you do turn to God, maybe you go to church with them, maybe you say a few prayers. But other people like me who use folk magic, I would turn to the Bible. There's tons of psalms and verses dealing with death and grief and letting go that I could incorporate into magic. I would definitely pull out my Bible. And you are judging people who blend their Christianity with their witchcraft, because you're trying to say that people who turn to the Bible are conflicted in their practice. You don't know their family and you don't know what they're going through. I would not call that a fake witch. I mean, let's say, for example, that I was a ceremonial black magician. So somebody, I don't know, I heard this term on YouTube. I don't even think it's a thing. So we'll just go with ceremonial magician. Well, that uses a lot of biblical lore as well. Okay, Satanist. We'll go with Satanist. So most Satanists, from my understanding, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, are atheist. and they don't believe in the devil or in God. I could be horribly wrong, but this is what I've been hearing all over the internet. Let's say they lost their mother, and the rest of their family is like diehard Catholic. I would expect them to pick up the Bible, to go with their father to church, to do the religious aspects of the funeral that's appropriate to their family. They might not like completely immerse themselves in it and become a Catholic, but they would do it out of respect. That doesn't make them a fake Satanist or a fake witch or somebody conflicted. That makes them somebody who's doing something out of respect. Okay, so too many on the YouTube or in the community as a whole are too politically correct. We are hard on Christians for going against their beliefs and making exceptions and being fake, but we let ourselves do whatever. I've never seen a Christian go against their faith. I've seen a lot of hate and a lot of bigotry and a lot of bullshit for Christians who want to become witches or go down the Wiccan path or blend their faith with witchcraft. There's a lot of folk magic that involves the Bible, Christianity, Catholicism, whatever you want to call it. And I've been learning a lot about that in the last couple of months. And I'm not quite ready to share everything right now because I'm still learning. But I think it's ridiculous that we are hard on Christianity and like Christians in general who try and come into our craft, whether it's Wicca, Satanism, witchcraft, baby sacrificial magic, whatever you want to call it. There is a lot of hate towards Christians who come in. I've seen in the last couple of days in a couple of Facebook groups, there was a Christian lady who had some questions because she wanted to blend her faith with Wicca, and the entire forum just attacked her and said, we don't want you here, your God-spewing bullshit is not welcome here. And all she did was say, I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, and I would like to try and blend my faith with Wicca. And she had some questions and so on and so forth, and people just got vicious and mean and just, I don't understand why. It is okay to be a little eclectic, but if you break your own traditions or your own morals, then you have made a mistake and should own up to it and correct it. The fuck are you talking about? No. I am the most eclectic witch you will ever find. I will go from traditional witchcraft, mix in a little bit of hoodoo, throw in some biblical verses, and, you know, I do what feels right to me. If you are a Christian who then wants to become a witch or a Wiccan, then all power to you, okay? All power to you. If you are a Wiccan who wants to go back to Christianity, but then later finds out, you know, it's not Wicca that's for me, it's the craft that's for me, all power to you. We are human beings living a human existence and a spiritual experience, and we should not be held back by the ignorance of people's rules about how we should live our lives and live our spiritual lives. I've also met a witch who claimed to be one, but after meeting them one-on-one, I found they did not practice. Okay, you don't have to be a witch who practices, okay? Like, you could be a Wiccan, okay? You could be of a spiritual path that doesn't practice spells and rituals, and you can call yourself whatever you want to call yourself. I don't know why we have to... They may have read a book or two, and they've often watched Charmed, and they Googled to find out what it is a religion. Wait, to find out it is a religion. Oh, he's got religion in quotes. Whatever, you'll figure it out. And they basically pretend to be a witch, but have never cast a spell or done anything that was not pretend or for show. You don't have to cast spells or do rituals to be a witch. In fact, the other day, I had a lady message me on Facebook and ask me, she said, I classify myself as a witch. And I celebrate the Sabbats by giving offerings and lighting incense. But I do not go down the Wiccan path, and I don't participate in casting spells or doing magical rituals. Would I be considered a witch? And I said yes. Why is she not a witch? Somebody in the comments tell me why this lady is not a witch. How this person who wrote me this long comment basically is judging people. He's like, this is not me being judgmental either. Yes, it is. Because you don't understand these people's practices or their religious beliefs or their spiritual beliefs. You can be a witch and not do spells. We associate the term witchcraft with magic and rituals and spells and potions and tinctures and this, that, and the other thing. And that's correct, but at the same time, there's so much more to it. It's a spiritual path. It's like how in Wicca, you can be a Wiccan, you can celebrate the Wiccan religion, you can be a part of the Wiccan religion, but you don't have to be a witch. I also believe that you can classify yourself as a witch, so that somebody who doesn't go down the Wiccan path, or maybe doesn't incorporate Wicca in their practice, or whatever you want to call it, but they also don't do the spell side of it. Maybe they'll make some tinctures, maybe they'll make some oils, maybe they'll, have some crystals and they'll meditate with crystals, but they don't do the spells, or they don't do the magical rituals. They celebrate the Sabbats and the Esbats, and I guess you could classify that as a Wicca, but that's a really gray area in another video. But I think you can classify yourself as a witch. I have met more than one person, and after asking them about what they were doing, they admit to me they didn't really believe in it and that they were dabbling and that they got the idea off TV. I will admit that I got the idea for witchcraft and Wicca off of TV when I was 18. Charmed was the biggest influence. I wanted to know what was fact, what was fiction, what was reality, what wasn't. And so I went down this path of book reading and learning and deciphering, okay, this is what's real on Charmed. Obviously, Piper blowing things up with her hands or throwing potions is fake. But, there were other aspects that really made me question, especially in the earlier seasons. And then, so this person goes on to say, okay, to me, this is fake. Just because you dabble, or just because you go into it, but then decide, this isn't for me, and you go back out to whatever else, that doesn't make you a fake witch. That just makes you somebody who is experimenting and exploring and being a spiritual person. What defines you as a witch is your own way of life and your actions as they are reflections of your belief. No. What defines you as a witch is, well, actually, I will backpedal and say maybe. In fact, that's probably the most sensible thing you have said. I will admit I've got some lumps here and there, but, this is probably the one sentence in the entire thing that actually makes sense to me. What defines you as a witch is your way of life and your actions as they reflect your belief. So then basically this just contradicts everything you said, because maybe your way of life and your belief changes. Maybe one half of the year you're a Wiccan, and the next you're a Christian, and then after that you're mixing Christianity and witchcraft together. I don't know. You cannot claim to be a witch. This is where I don't agree with him. You cannot claim to be a witch. You must believe in your path and be present within it. No, you can claim to be a witch. You might be a fake witch, and a fake witch is somebody who pretends, essentially. Now, he's made some points here, like people who go and say, yeah, I watched Charmed, and I've got psychic powers, I can move things with my mind, like, you're a fake witch. Other people who are like, oh, I practice every day, I'm really powerful in the craft, but my boyfriend broke up with me. Can somebody give me a spell to, bring him back to me? First of all, magic ain't gonna help you, and second of all, you're a fake witch. And the last type of fake witch is somebody who claims to be something. So, I'm a high priest, but everything you're doing is wrong. Your entire craft is wrong. Everything you're doing is wrong, and you're a fake witch. That is another example of a fake witch, okay? So I hope this video isn't too long, but I'm not gonna edit it. I'm just gonna upload it as it is, and so on and so forth. And I don't know. I'd like to get your guys' opinions. What do you think of this comment. I kind of want to screenshot it and put it in this video, not because, you know, I'm gonna delete his comment, but I've had instances where people will send me comments like this, but then they'll edit them to be like, I love your videos, I love your sass. And it's like, wait, you had an entire paragraph there of things that you wanted to say. So just in case anything like that happens. So, I don't know, I want yours' opinions. Make your video responses, make your comments, leave your hate mail, unsubscribe from me, or subscribe. I don't care, but, you know, I kind of want to know what you guys think of this, okay? So until next time. Well, I had to do a part 2, which I'm just going to tack on to the end of the video. And we're going to go through... He left a comment, so like a reply to his main comment, which I'm going to screenshot as well and put at the end of this. But you can go to the video. Again, there'll be a card. I'm going to try and keep this part short. So in his reply, he says, to add to that, if you are not sure what about someone and you suspect they are fake, then do not assume, because they might just be new or lacking some maturity and wisdom or something, but you cannot know someone on a level to know them actually believe in their practice and use it. They may use it sparingly or in different ways, and a witch does not always witch. Perhaps you have no altar for one reason or another, but what you believe and how you feel towards your path speaks volumes. Okay, I kind of agree with this. Not every witch has an altar, and like I gave the example, you know, I said the lady who doesn't do the spells or the magical rituals but does celebrate, you know, the Sabbats and so on and so forth, she's a witch. And yes, I will agree that there are people who are new to the craft, who are inexperienced, but to me, a fake witch, like I've already said, is the person who's like, I've been doing this for 35 years, I practice every day, by the way, my boyfriend just left me, can someone give me a spell? Like, you should, A, know that magic can't help you in cases like heartache and pain and emotional trauma, because you're everywhere. You're not going to be able to put the proper intentions in, and I've got videos on this. And B, if you've been doing this for 35 years, why the hell are you coming on Facebook asking us for spells when you should have a spell? Or be able to come up with a spell or a ritual, okay? Also, to me, it is fake if someone is new, less than a year into it, and they claim they will bind you and talk about flying on their broom or doing a spell to make us go to war. Okay, first of all, it doesn't matter how long you've been practicing. Flying on a broom ain't gonna happen. Maybe in an astral projection you could fly on a broom. That's something that's possible. But claiming they will bind you, binding someone is the easiest form of magic you can do. I mean, binding someone is easy. All you do is, if you don't have a poppet, you take a lemon and you put a black rope or string or whatever around it, and you're envisioning the person that you're binding, and you're binding them from you, and there you go. You know, pretty simple, pretty easy. Or a spell to make us go to war. That one, you know, okay. If you're coming on Facebook or something and you're being like, I got magic and I'm gonna make us go to war. No. However, there is the story of Gerald Gardner and his coven or group of witches who cursed Hitler. And some of them died during that process, but there was a lot of magical energy released. There's instances where this can happen. Not going to war, but, you know. First of all, there are limits to magic, and a witch does not fly on a broom in the same sense as you see in the movies. No shit. Secondly, binding takes a lot of power. No, it doesn't. No, it really doesn't. Cursing or hexing someone takes a shit ton of power, okay? Because you need to put your hate, and you need to put your, at least for me, in my opinion, you need to put a lot of hate and a lot of anger and a lot of just what you really want to happen to that person. You remember my vlog I did? It was called I Was Threatened. Here's a card. And I said that I was gonna punish him. I've never seen him around here again. Never. And I mean, I wanted some nasty fucking things to happen to this man that probably did end up happening to him. Cursing and hexing takes a shit ton of power. But binding someone doesn't take any power at all. In fact, a lot of witches will threaten to bind you, but it's so easy to just be like, nope. Whereas cursing and hexing, I can understand the whole concept between bubbles and, shields and so on. If the practitioner practices for long enough, then the path is too deeply embedded and they cannot be bound. Okay, so you need to put your crack pipe down. It takes a lot of power to take away the free will of another. Too many make bold claims as if a single witch can just magically make a witch stop practicing because of she wills it to happen. Okay, what about he? You sexist pig. That's a joke. I'm not, whatever. So, there's a lot of research you still need to do. Binding someone isn't the same way as Charmed, which is where I think you're getting this from, where in an episode of Charmed, I think it was called Firestarter, there was a kid who could start fires when he was angry, and Piper ended up giving him a potion to bind his powers so that he couldn't do that anymore because he couldn't control them. And I think that's what you're talking about here, is binding someone from doing witchcraft or casting spells. First of all, binding doesn't take any power at all. I could bind you right now. Like, I could just go to the store and get a lemon and, some black twine and boom, done. Like, you can bind somebody, you can curse somebody, you can hex somebody. Like, this is easy peasy shit, okay? Cursing and hexing is a little more complicated because, like I said, at least in my opinion, and people are welcome to leave their thoughts and opinions, but in my opinion, cursing and hexing requires you to put a lot of hate, to put a lot of anger. Like, you gotta hate and you gotta be angry towards that person, and you gotta make sure your intentions are crystal fucking clear. With binding someone, I mean, it's the same kind of concept, but you don't have to hate them. You just have to be like, you're fucking annoying me. Like, I'm just gonna bind you. And there's different forms of binding. You can bind somebody so that they don't come near you, or they don't come anywhere around you. You can bind someone so that if they do come near you, they don't speak around you. You can bind someone such that, I don't know, maybe the next spell they cast or try to do, or the next ritual they do fizzles out and, Binding someone doesn't really take a lot of power. What takes a lot of power is getting past most witches' barriers. When we put ourselves on YouTube and in Facebook communities, we're opening ourselves up to idiots. And I'm not saying this person's an idiot, but some of the things they're saying is starting to make them look like one. There's a lot of idiots in the community who think that they can cast magical spells. And I've said this in the past, and I'll continue to say this. I don't have barriers or shields or anything like that up. The only time I've ever done a protection spell on myself is when Cat W Magic commented on one of my videos about going to prison or something, and I didn't know whose side she was on, and that is a witch you don't fuck with, okay? So, like, if I had pissed her off in some way or something, like, I wanted to make sure I was safe. As for the other witches out there who tried to say, oh, we're coming for you, we're gonna do magic against you, bitch, you ain't gonna do shit. A real witch doesn't boast about casting curses and hexes and saying, I'm gonna curse you, I'm gonna hex you, I'm gonna bind you, I'm gonna do whatever. A real witch just does it. Now, you might be able to say, hey, Adam, we've heard you say, I could bind you right now. Yeah, I could, but I'm not going to. Why? Because I don't have time for that. Nobody has time for that. It takes a lot of power and a lot of hate and a lot of energy to bind somebody over the internet. It's a lot easier to bind a guy who's fucking parking in my parking lot and then threatening me and my safety. That's a hell of a lot easier than some dipshit on the internet who thinks that they can come after me or, whatever. Anyways, let's continue. This guy didn't really break up his paragraphs properly, so it's kind of hard to read this. I have met people like this. Oh, wait. A witch definitely can bind, yada yada. These bold claims and acting like you're an expert when you lack experience to back it is fake to me. This I'll agree with. There's a lot of witches out there who will say a lot of shit, okay? A lot of shit, and they will act like it's fact, when in reality, it came out of Silver Ravenwolf's ass, or some other piece of shit Wicca beginner's book. And before you flip your shit on me for saying this, okay, before you flip your shit on me for saying this, there are good Wicca beginner books that explain Wicca as a religion and separate the differences between witchcraft and Wicca, and I found a few of them. And then there are books like Silver Ravenwolf where they paint it towards preteens and make magic look cool. That's bullshit to me. I have met people like this, and I'm not sure if people on YouTube have seen this or if they prefer not to discuss it. Oh, I'm one to definitely open up that can of worms and discuss it. But I have seen these, and I feel that each of these are in different ways a fake witch can manifest. Wait, what? I feel it, each of these... Wait, different ways a fake witch can manifest. Oh, okay, so he's saying that, there's a lot of people on YouTube who spout a lot of shit, and these are, in his opinion, easy ways for the fake witches to take center stage, I think. And this is true. This is true. I know some YouTubers have mentioned binding another, and I'm not saying, and no way of saying they are fake because it was mentioned. You kind of are. Binding is a very real thing, but anyone claiming they can do things that are clear exaggeration of their abilities or single orchestrationer, then I don't even know if this is a word, then they are being fake by trying to make themselves seem larger than life as if they are supernatural. Yes, yes, and yes. Okay, so there are a lot of witchy drama, and I'm sure you've seen some of the witchy drama on my channel, so on and so forth. And there is a lot of witchy drama, and a lot of these witches in this, some of them are in the States, some of them are in Canada, but most of the drama I've seen is in the States, of these so-called witches who are gonna do spells on each other, and you can very clearly see who the real witch is in these situations. Tequila's been in her own kind of drama, Ravenways I'm sure has been in some drama, Cat W Magic definitely, I'm not going to get into all of it, but suffice to say, someone said they were going to bind her, and Cat W Magic was pretty much like, that's nice. You can tell who the real witch in these situations are, and I've had people tell me they're going to curse me, hex me, whatever. What I have to say to this is that, are you really going to curse and hex and bind and whatever somebody over the fucking internet? Because you had a disagreement or an argument, or you think someone's stealing content? It's time for you to grow up now and get off the internet. If you're gonna try and send magic my way or in any way, you're fucking stupid. You are practicing a spiritual practice, you are still human. Okay. Magic is real and very powerful, but it does not work the way it does in movies. I don't think anybody has really said it works the way it does in movies. I've had some people post charmed spells and shit like that in Facebook groups. I've had people, and I've called them out. I said, this is from Charm, this isn't gonna work. They've tried to come back and say, well, you never know. Yeah, you do. Just because it rhymes doesn't mean it's gonna work. I've had lots of people think that they've got supernatural powers, or they see supernatural and they think that's how you summon demons. No. They pull from lore, and some of the lore is real-ish, but they exaggerate a lot of it and they twist a lot of it to make it their own. I don't think God has a sister. Some practitioners need to come back down to earth a little. Yes, they do. Thankfully, it's just an issue at events I have been to, or on YouTube, or even in some forums. So basically, you've seen this everywhere. But I have seen it a lot. Thankfully it is not an issue at the events I have been to or on YouTube. It's a big issue on YouTube. Or even in some forums, it's a big issue on the internet. But I have seen a lot out and about and going to events on smaller scale. That's because when you go to these events, or you come to YouTube, or you basically go anywhere, whether it's the internet or to a coffee shop or whatever, there's a witches meetup thing that happens in my city, and I don't go to it because talking to some of the people in the Facebook group really demonstrates that a lot of them really have no idea what they're talking about, and they just want to boast shit. Okay? So, I haven't seen him reply again, and I'm gonna put his response at the end of this section, and I know this video is gonna be really, really long, but I would really like to get your guys' opinions on this whole subject. I don't think this person's a bad person. I definitely disagreed with a few of their points, but I don't know. I like to hear your guys' topic. Again, all of the videos I've talked about will be linked, yada, yada, yada. Nobody cares. Okay? Until next time. Mwah.